Come see us do stand-up in Baltimore, Hartford, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Cohoes, New York, Providence, Rhode Island, and San Jose, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for the tickets. Breaking news, U.S. hitting the brakes on flow of arms to Ukraine. So they're not, military financing has been stopped. And officials are meeting to consider suspending another type of assistance. So why is this good news? This is good news because that means the war will end. And so Ukrainians will stop being slaughtered senselessly for U.S. neocon economic hitmen. That's what this is all about. That's why they blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, so we could sell more liquefied natural gas to Europe to try to cripple Russia economically, but it actually didn't. It actually crippled Germany, which is the economic engine of Europe. And that's why they're in what they call contraction, otherwise known as a recession. But now they call it a contraction. So this is good news. The Trump administration has stopped financing new weapon sales to Ukraine and is considering freezing weapons shipments from U.S. stockpiles, moves that threaten Kiev's ability to fight at a critical time. The critical time, you mean after the war has been lost, and they're grabbing able-bodied men off street corners and throwing them in a van so they could go get slaughtered? I mean, that kind of a critical time? Of course, the Wall Street Journal. They want more war. It's all about money. The financing was halted in recent weeks amid the administration's freeze on foreign aid. But the move to potentially shut down the main pipeline for it's ironic they use the term pipeline, isn't it? Since we blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. For arms transfers to Ukraine comes days after a contentious meeting between Trump and Zelensky. The tense exchange Friday raised fears across Europe that the U.S. could be moving away from the wider Western alliance. Good! Good! There's no point to NATO. As Chomsky said decades ago, there's no point to NATO. Trump on Monday also lashed out publicly at Zelensky for saying the war with Russia was likely to continue for some time. This is the worst statement that could have been made by Zelensky, and America will not put up with it for much longer, Trump wrote on his social media platform, Truth Social, using a different spelling of the Ukrainian leader's name. Was it D-I-C-K? Anyway, come on, that's me being... I'm being cheeky. The Trump administration in late January ordered a stop to all foreign aid, including military aid, except to Israel and Egypt. On Friday, the administration said it was sending Israel another $3 billion because they are cucks to Israel. Donald Trump is a cuck to Israel, just like they all are, everybody in government, including more than 35,000 new 2,000-pound bombs. Whoa. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in recent weeks signed a waiver to exempt Ukraine from the ban Trump imposed on foreign assistance, but senior State Department official Peter Marocco hasn't sent a required letter to the Pentagon to allow the aid to flow to Kiev. Withholding the letter has resulted in a de facto halt to new weapons deals for Ukraine using the U.S. foreign military financing system, which is managed by the State Department and pays for weapons for some countries, according to current... Would it be great if they paid for, I don't know, food, clothing, housing, and medical care? Wouldn't that be something if they did that? I mean, for Americans. You know, for roads and bridges and trains and things like that. Wouldn't that be amazing? When I was a kid... I grew up on the southwest side of Chicago, and there was I was half block away from Vidham Park. And when I was a kid, they built a new gym. It's like beautiful. We had to borrow this tiny little gym that was inside of this grammar school. That was our gym for the neighborhood. It was tiny, and it was only open for a few hours a day, and it was available to us because it was a public school, and it was tiny. And then they built this beautiful, I was told at the time, it was in the 80s. At the time, it was like, I think they spent $3 million on it. And it was beautiful. It had showers, it had locker rooms, it had everything you would want in it. It had stands, a second floor balcony stands to watch game. It was, and I got to tell you, it made me feel good about my city. It made me feel like, oh, there's actually somebody in the community who cares about people. Look what they did for us. They gave us this beautiful gymnasium. Like Tom Brokaw. And it did it, like, affects your mentality. It was like, oh, my government is actually investing in our community in a tangible way that actually elevates and helps everyone's life in a big way. It was really, really made you feel good. But they don't do that anymore. What they do is they spend money on bombs to go kill other people for economic hitmen. Bomb money. We always got bomb money. They always got bomb money. We keep that next to our drinking money. Nobody touches that. Okay. Ukraine is able to get weapons from the U.S. through several means, including foreign military financing, which provides loans and grants for nations to buy weapons from U.S. defense companies. So what that is the United States just giving money to weapons men. They just send it to that guy, then they send it. Instead of directly paying them, they send it to this foreign military financing, and then they send it. It's just, that's called corruption. That's called graft. It allows Pentagon to buy weapons for Kiev, but is currently out of funds. However, Presidential Drawdown Authority, which allows the Defense Department to pull directly from its own stockpiles, has been most significant tool for arming Ukraine. On Monday, the White House is holding a meeting, that'd be today, to consider suspending shipments using the Drawdown Authority, a congressional aide and a second person familiar with the matter said. The shutdown of financing new weapons sales began before Friday's acrimonious meeting, during which Ukraine and the U.S. were supposed to sign a framework agreement for a mineral rights deal, but instead canceled the ceremony and a scheduled press conference. But the meeting to consider suspending ongoing weapons shipments to Ukraine drawn from U.S. military inventories emerged after the Friday blow-up at the White House. Zelensky's bad at what he's doing. If his, I have a feeling that Zelensky could be he could be pretending to want more war, but he really doesn't. Because, again, he ran on a peace thing, and he did try to get them to stop shelling the Donbass, the Azov battalion. He really was a peace guy. And he's been forced by the Nazis in Ukraine and NATO powers, both threatening to kill him if he stops the war. So maybe that was his way to get the war stopped. Like, I'll go out and I'll piss off Donald Trump, and they'll stop the funding, and then the war will finally end. I'll have to negotiate a peace deal because we don't have any weapons or money. Maybe that's what Zelensky. Do you think that's possible?
I don't. It just seems like he has such arrogance that he does want to, you just have to give me the money.
Could he be that stupid? Maybe he is that stupid. But anyway, there it is. So I'm cheering this on, and watch all the people who consider themselves liberal cheering on more war. When did the liberals become pro-war? I know, 2016 when Donald Trump got elected. That's when. Come see us do stand-up in Baltimore, Hartford, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Cohoes, New York, Providence, Rhode Island, and San Jose, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for the tickets.